We begin with the latest developments. The Rafah border crossings limited reopening. This coming, of course, after those numerous delays to let desperately needed aid flow to Palestinians running short of food, medicine, and water, but no evacuations of hundreds of foreign passport holders waiting to leave Gaza. ABC's Matt Rivers joins us live from Cairo with more. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Janae. Right now, leaders from around the world meeting here in Cairo in what's being called a peace summit to try and come up with a long-term solution to this crisis. But I can tell you that as this goes on at the border, as we see what's happening at Rafah, there remain major concerns, even if some aid has for the first time crossed over.
This morning, a sight so many have been waiting for. Trucks loaded down with aid rolling into Gaza. 20 in all, led by the Egyptian Red Crescent, crossing the border from Egypt into Gaza, bringing with them desperately needed food, water, and medicine. The agreement to temporarily open the border, brokered by President Biden and Egyptian President el-Sisi earlier this week, faced repeated delays, with Israeli airstrikes and concerns of who would inspect the aid shipments, causing nearly 4,000 tons of aid to pile up on the Egyptian side. Now it starts to move in, and the need has never been greater.
So these trucks are not just trucks. They are a lifeline. They are the difference between life and death for so many people in Gaza.
Israel's war with Hamas leaving mass amounts of destruction in its wake. Buildings in Gaza City reduced to ash and rubble. A Palestinian flag seen hanging off the side of this leveled building. People carrying what's left of their belongings through land littered with destruction. Israel Defense Forces saying it hit more than 100 targets overnight Thursday. One Israeli airstrike hitting an historic Greek Orthodox church in Gaza City. Thursday, a spokesman for the Palestinian Health Ministry saying 16 Palestinian Christians were killed in that church. Israel Defense Forces saying the church was not the target of the strike, and residents in the northern area of the Gaza Strip were asked to evacuate in order to minimize harm. More than 1,400 people in Israel have been killed, while the death toll in Gaza has risen to more than 4,000. Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, telling infantry soldiers to be ready to move into Gaza, saying, quote, "It might take a week, a month, 2 months until we destroy them." Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visiting with combat soldiers at the Gaza border Thursday. Netanyahu saying, quote, "We are going to win with all our might." What Israel's offensive will look like is an open question. What is clear, though, is the need that remains in Gaza. And just 20 aid trucks getting in is a mere fraction of what's needed. World Food Program Executive Director Cindy McCain says constant aid shipments are necessary given the challenges they face in delivering it.
The Israelis will ultimately dictate in one way or another where you guys can go, in addition to Hamas and the authorities that are on the other side there. So how do you navigate that?
Well, we're hoping, of course, that the world sees it for what it is, and this is an area that we have to get into. So whoever's in charge, please give us unfettered access and please allow us to go in and feed these people.
Now, there remains hundreds of Americans and others with foreign passports trapped in Gaza, and a big question, will those people be let out here into Egypt once aid was allowed in? At least so far, that does not appear to be the case. Those hundreds of Americans, as well as the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza, remain trapped, Janae, at this point.
And Matt, that's exactly what I want to ask you about. It was this time last week we were reporting on the agreement to open that border crossing, but that hadn't happened until this morning. Why is that? And do you think that we'll start to see any sort of sustained access here?
Yeah, I mean, this was an agreement that we thought would come to fruition days ago, and yet it took until this morning here, local time, to just open that border for a small amount of time. There's so many different factors at play. The border is a fluid situation, and so exactly how this moves forward from here, I don't think anyone really knows. But what I can tell you is the message from everyone involved in the aid world here is that border needs to open back up and remain open so the amount of aid that is needed in Gaza can actually get to where it needs to go. Gio?
Yeah, so many around the world asking for that humanitarian aid. Matt, thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.